Hello there, and welcome to Star Wars Warts and All, podcast where we talk about all the stuff we love about Star Wars, warts and all. My name is Will. Joining me again, my good friends Ben.
Hello.
Bill.
Hi.
And Chris.
Chris is Major Domo, actually.
Ah, clever. Couldn't get the real deal. Have to settle
Apologies.
Well, tonight we offer our tribute to Boba Fett in the form of this episode, as we talk about our first live-action Star Wars in what's felt like forever.
Too long.
Yeah. The Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 1, Stranger in a Strange Land. Let's dive in.
All right.
I guess actually that's a good place to start, is with the episode title. Stranger in a Strange Land.
Yeah, did any of you pick up on that? Because
it's a familiar phrase, but
right.
I was
I don't know if
unaware
it was
of
coined
exactly
from
where.
the book,
So-
but
no, but it definitely had. Well, I mean, the biggest thing. Well, so the title comes from. It's a sci-fi novel written by Robert A. Heinlein.
yeah, he also did Starship
And-
Troopers, didn't he? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a classic sci-fi.
This book is actually in the Library of Congress as like one of the a novel that shaped our society or something like that. And it's definitely one of those sci-fi novels where you have to like figure it out because it sounded very confusing. But there's a big element, and I think we'll get to it later. I don't want to talk about it yet.
Well, let's just spoilers for the entire episode. I don't think we need to necessarily wait for like a big. Like,
Yeah.
If you watch the episode, or if you haven't watched the episode, stop listening.
And go do that, and then re-listen to it.
So at the end of the episode, Boba has gained the respect of the Tuscans, and the Tuscans share water with him. And there's a big element of this book, a concept in this book, where sharing water, because the book is a guy from Earth got stranded on Mars, was raised by Martians for 25 years, came back to Earth, and obviously was very out of place. And there was this concept that sharing water, because a place where water is scarce, like Mars, sharing water depicts a very profound or like strong relationship between two people.
Okay, see, now that sounds like another sci-fi book that I've been, as you guys well know, I've been getting really into.
I was
because of the
waiting for
movie
this.
Dune
That's
and
a
the
good
sharing
point.
water.
I'm looking up because I want to say Stranger in a Strange Land was written first.
Before Dune.
Yeah, that was 1961.
And before Star Wars.
I wanna say it
Dune
was-
was 65.
okay.
Yeah, so Stranger in a Strange Land is
Okay,
first.
All right. Yeah. I think Bill is probably right as far as the sharing water thing, but other than that, I mean, I just took it as it's a title that I recognize the phrasing, and I thought, all right, well, Boba Fett is a stranger in a strange land in the sense that he's living with the sand people or whatever, in the desert.
Yeah.
It even just works on a surface level. So
Well, it even draws parallels too to the fact that like he lived in this world, but then he was gone for a while, and then he came back, and it's very different.
yeah, I think there is a lot of that in this too. Like maybe he's out of his element even in the current timeline, or in the modern timeline, I guess you could call it. Because all right, well, let's start with that. Obviously, there's flashbacks in this, so it takes place in two different timelines. One of the things I wanted to mention just to you guys quickly, see if you agreed. The opening shots are like just an empty Jabba's palace, which I think is to just establish not only where he is, but also to remind us that he's pretty much alone. And this is not the Jabba's palace that we knew from, the height of his power, with the major court and all of these, goings on. There's pretty much nothing going on in Jabba's palace. I was amazed by how well I knew that place, though, after playing Star Wars Battlefront so much.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I've been there. Oh yeah, I know what's around that corner. I've popped out from behind there with a scatter blaster ready to go.
I'd have to say though, it was pretty empty when Boba went and killed Bib Fortuna as well at the end of
Right, and I
Mandalorian.
think that's important to point out. Like, it already had fallen out of favor, I think. And that might even be why Boba is doing what he's doing. Because, again, there's still many questions still unanswered here as far as what is the point of all this? Like, what is his end game? What's his plan?
Yeah. I that's what I was wondering, if he doesn't realize that Bib Fortuna actually became like a vassal to some other crime lord because he wasn't strong enough to really lead Jabba's
Exactly.
business.
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence that seems to point in that direction. But all right, so obviously one of the things we see, very early on is that we're getting some flashbacks, and it seems like, I think this is going to be, at least in the early episodes, a major storytelling element,
Which we called, by the way. I'm sure a lot of people did, but we were.
And I like the way they're handling it, though, with the, when he goes in the bacta tank and he has dreams, and he even mentions like the dreams are happening again. Like, this is something that maybe just happens from a bacta treatment, like it's part of the side effects or something.
Right.
But it does beg the question: do you guys think he needs that bacta bath, like, to survive?
I think at one point he needed it, because if you see what he looked like during The Mandalorian compared to now, the Bacta is definitely healing him, but I wonder if it's past the point of healing now and more like an addiction.
Right.
Could be that.
Yeah.
Actually, that's I was wondering if it was like the acid from the Sarlacc just like has
It's
a
almost
lasting
like
effect.
Like a radiation almost
Right.
kind of effect. Yeah, I'm
but
wondering.
an addiction, that's a plausible theory too. Actually, I kind of like that too.
If he's not careful, he's
might
gonna
take a dark
he's gonna
turn
end up
here.
like Saw Gerrera eventually.
That could be.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Or Dengar. Rothgar Dang, even.
He'll be in episode 4, calling it now.
Yeah. Take bets. So, speaking of flashbacks, we see some like Attack of the Clones, young Boba scenes thrown in there,
Yeah, that was
which
cool.
was neat to see.
And they
Just
were
as a reminder of who this is. Like, that was him too.
in those scenes. Some of them were brand new scenes,
Right?
reshot.
Yeah. It felt that way.
The kid who played him said something on Twitter, and then the guy who played young Boba Fett at that time confirmed it, that they were actually brand new scenes shot for the show.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked close enough. I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't really feel out of place. And then we get Boba Fett's, in flashback, inside the Sarlacc, making his escape. Any surprises there? Because to me,
No.
like, honestly, I was like, yeah, that's pretty much how I saw that going.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, they called it on Parks and Rec. It was pretty much shot for shot, I guess.
Yeah, that quickly started making the rounds online. It was the Patton Oswalt calling it. Possibly even shot to match his description.
Yeah. It's very eerie.
Yeah.
But
Well, how
Yeah.
else are they going to do it? That's pretty much the
That's
only way.
exactly how I was expecting it. I mean,
that is a
there's
good point.
there's some fantasy flight card art that shows him just jetpacking out of it, which I think
That's
would have
right.
been-
Yeah.
I think
Well-
that would have been kind of anticlimactic.
I almost thought we were going to see that because of the way that the Mandalorian jetpacked out of the Crate Dragon. and-
Well, it would have almost felt like they were just copying
Yeah,
that.
right,
Yeah,
right, right.
yeah.
Well, don't forget,
Plus,
his jetpack was malfunctioning, right?
Right,
And-
that's
true,
Jedi,
yeah.
So
It's busted.
it's a piece of junk.
good thing his
Never mind
flamethrower
that.
was still operational.
Yeah. And then we see, of course, confirmation that Jawas are dirty, greedy, disgusting little monsters.
Yeah, I've
Yes,
I've
you're welcome.
decided that the word Jawa is synonymous with the word jerk. And I'm just going to call jerks. I'm going to call them Jawas from now on. So
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, but even that was like, that makes sense. Like, he's passed out. The Jawas are just going to take what they need, leave him for dead. They don't care.
Yeah.
But the Tuscans take an interest in him for whatever reason. They give him their worm goo, miracle drug. It looked like they literally squeezed that out of the butt of a worm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what
Oh, is that what it
his
was? It
mouth
looked like a carrot
to
or
wake
something.
him up.
It's a weird
I
carrot.
don't know.
Yeah.
It's like the
Either
grubs
squishy.
from the Lion King.
either a worm or a
Yeah, that's
grub or
It was disgusting.
Something.
Whatever it was.
It was
It
gross.
was gross.
They cut out the Hakuna Matata musical number at the time. Just didn't.
Slimy yet satisfying.
So my question about the Tuscans taking him is, did they take him to give him a chance to prove himself? Like, because they just had him, and then later we see the Rhodian tied up next to him, and it's like, what were they there for? Like, I don't know what Tuscans do with prisoners.
Yeah, well, later on we see, the whole digging up the water chestnut, whatever those were.
Right.
Water shells. I mean, it could just be like slave labor,
Yeah,
and then if
guess,
if you happen to prove yourself to be more useful, then maybe they'll have other purposes for you. So I mean, we'll see in the next episode, I guess.
Yeah.
One of my theories is that Tuscan Raiders, that's how they get more Tuscan Raiders, is they do that kind of thing, and then they introduce you
Yeah.
into their clan, and then, because we've never seen one without their wrappings on, it's possible that they, we did a while ago in non-canon stuff, but it's not canon anymore, so maybe, to increase their numbers, they do this to see who's, worthy enough to become a Tuscan Raider.
I think there's also clearly just different tribes of Tuscans. Like this tribe,
Yeah,
they have
right.
They kind of have a different look to them. They're a little darker tones.
Yeah. There's
Which
that
fits
one
with Boba's robes in the last one.
There's that
Or
one
in the
that has those
Mandalorian.
like strips of cloth.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of remind me of dreadlocks or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so they could have different practices and beliefs, almost like foundlings, right? It's the same kind of concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I did like, though, when Boba made his first escape, the way he gently put down the dog. Or the, what is it
Give him
called?
a little pat on the head after he knocks him out.
Massive.
Massive.
That's
Massive
what it is,
hounds.
And he gives a little stroke with his hand.
Yeah.
It's a nice touch. Then he apologizes later on.
Yeah.
So.
No hard
Because
feelings.
that's something I'll bring this up now because the first time I watched this, I watched it with my kids, and my younger daughter just kept asking is Boba Fett a good guy or a bad guy? And I didn't have an answer. I was like, I don't know, we got to see how this plays out. But she couldn't let it go because I mean, this as a kid, this is, you need to know this. Who are the good guys here and who are the bad guys? And then there's just Boba Fett somewhere in the middle. We're not quite sure.
He's just a simple
Right?
man trying to make his way in the galaxy.
Yeah. Maybe he's more than that now, though. Maybe.
So I think I thought we were gonna get to this later, but I think
We will.
that his time with the Tuscans may have taught him a lot about respect.
Right, which we've kind of theorized before.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll come back to that in the end. You're right. What else happened with the Tuscans?
Well, he has that fight and gets his butt kicked pretty
Yeah,
good.
he does.
I don't think
Right,
he
which-
lands a single blow on the other one. It's
No.
pretty one-sided.
To be fair, he just has a baby gaffy stick against a
Right.
grown-up gaffy stick. But you're right, and I think that answers the question that we had during the Mandalorian, which was when did he learn to fight hand to hand like that?
Right.
And maybe he kind of learned it from
Yeah,
the Tuscans.
right.
Maybe that wasn't really one of his specialties.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was without his armor. Tired,
And all the toys.
thirsty, tied up in the desert for days, probably.
No knee rockets.
No,
Yeah. So anyway, it transitions back to Boba and Fennec Shand essentially alone running the show in Jabba's palace. And they bring in the line of, what do you call them? Courtiers, or is that a word? People
Sure.
standing in line to give tribute to the new
Right.
daimyo, which I was a big fan of hearing the word daimyo
course you
in
were.
Star Wars.
too.
Which is a feudal Japanese term. Now, a daimyo, of course, serves a shogun, though, in feudal Japan. So, begs the question, if Boba's a daimyo, who is the shogun? Is it the mayor?
Could be.
Is he the man on top?
I mean, he certainly
got-
thinks he is.
Yeah. He's either too big for his britches or he is bigger than Boba.
Maybe it's
And his britches are as big as they should be.
maybe it's Crimson Dawn. Is the
Oh.
leader.
I had
That is the
I had a
Shogun.
thought about that because
The mayor could be Kira? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I don't know. No, I just
No,
mean like
no,
no.
he's the
'Cause they
daimyo
refer to the mayor.
to Crimson Dawn. Yeah.
They refer to it as a male?
As a male, yeah.
Figures.
I still think
Come
it might
on,
be that
Kathleen Kennedy. Well, you're not doing your job.
I think it still might be that Arthurian from the trailer, who's
The
who's
mayor?
the mayor, possibly.
Yeah, it could be.
Oh yeah, I
Which-
forgot about that.
Which I think he was wearing red robes in the trailer, wasn't he? And those assassins that
I don't
attacked in the
remember.
streets, we're getting ahead of ourselves a
They were
little bit.
wearing red.
They were wearing crimson as well. So I
I assumed they
All
were
right.
tied with the mayor, but we'll
yeah,
get to
yeah,
that.
right.
Yeah, probably. He did mention the major domo mentioned
And
that
another
he'd be receiving
delegation,
another delegation.
That
right?
guy
Yeah.
was
Maybe
kind
that
of
was them.
hilarious, but also kind of weird.
Yeah, you know, I recognized him. I couldn't place it, but he is the ex-husband in
Right.
Veep.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where I knew him
Okay.
from. And he was pretty sleazy and slimy in that too. So there you go. Also in this scene, of course, the great Matt Berry as the
Yes.
voice of the,
Yeah.
the torture droid.
Yeah.
Presenting Doc Strassi, leader of the Trandoshan family, protectors of the city center and its business territories.
Which is just, I mean, you put anybody with a British accent as a droid and it works, but he works particularly well.
I
And
didn't.
I love the fact,
I didn't notice till the
I love-
second watch, and then I was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
definitely him." Yeah.
I saw his name in the credits and then I listened back. I do love, though, you know, when those Gamorreans are brought in front of Boba and he doesn't want to torture them, the droid's kind of like, now hold on a minute. Torturing is definitely on the table. Let's not forget how important it is to torture.
Right, 'cause he was he Jabba's torture droid?
I'm pretty
assuming?
sure he was
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
droid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny. Maybe we'll get the whole Dark Place cast as droids. Now
Yeah,
that
right.
Matt Berry and Richard
Yeah.
Ayoade have been droids.
That's right. So then when they go, we'll have to get opinions on this. We'll take a poll, but when they arrive at or outside of the Twi'lek, what is it called? The Sanctuary? Is that what they call that
Uh-huh.
place?
Mhm.
There are some droids walking around that are clearly straight out of Boston Dynamics with the spindly little legs, little
Yes.
like dog droids. Out of place or no? What do you guys think?
I
I don't think so.
I think it was awesome because you actually have the closest thing to actual droids in real life in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Like as a prop in a Star Wars movie. I don't know.
It just looked so real. I think it just caught me. I was like, but that's definitely.
Yeah, I didn't
I've
realize
seen that.
I didn't realize there was so much hate on that. Like I was just looking at that before we recorded, and people were like, "Oh, it totally broke immersion." I'm just
Yeah,
like, whatever.
Again, warts and all, you move right past that
Well,
and
and
then
I-
continue
I
the
just
rest of the
thought-
episode.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought it was kind of cool. I was like, wait,
I stopped it immediately and said, you know what? I need to
I can't
cancel
watch
my
this
Disney
anymore.
Plus
This-
subscription.
This is
This-
Disney
Yeah.
Plus is ruining Star Wars. No,
Maybe
I
a
thought,
small bit.
I thought it was cool. I thought, we could see more of this because that company actually has droids, pretty much. So
right.
Why
Right.
not put them in a movie
I think-
or television show?
I think the thing that would break immersion, quote unquote, is if they had those more humanoid ones that could do like jumps and stuff like that. If they use those as like
True.
assassin
Yeah.
droids or like combat or something, because then
They're almost
then
too
that
smooth. Like,
would- yeah.
like they need to be clunkier.
I
Yeah.
guess, but I don't know.
Well, that's really it. Like, if Star Wars is a lived-in universe, those look like brand new off the factory, robotics.
Well,
they
yeah.
don't look.
I mean,
They don't look like old kind of grimy.
they'd have to.
Somebody's got to be making new droids somewhere in the galaxy.
That is true, and we
All
are
the-
in like a New Republic era. Maybe this is just a New Republic model of
Most of the droids in Sanctuary
Four-legged
were like
droid.
brand new shiny droids too. I mean, yeah, sure, they could probably keep them clean, but like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
an
you're right.
astromech in there that was serving drinks that had like no dust or
Well,
anything on
yeah,
it
those,
at all
those two
whatsoever.
Twi'lek servants probably shining them up all the time.
Yeah, service
So
their
that-
helmets.
Yeah, right. That place reminded me more of Canto Bight than it did Mos Eisley. Like it
A
wasn't.
little bit.
It wasn't
Yeah.
a dingy cantina. This was like a high class establishment.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
forget
yeah.
we're in Mos Espa though,
Right.
not Mos Eisley.
That's true. That is
Yeah.
true. Also, okay. I have to admit, it took me until watching it with headphones on and subtitles on to notice that the music playing is the Cantina theme in a different style.
What did the subtitle say? This is the Star Wars Cantina song, just done with guitars.
It says Cantina music plays, or yeah, I wish I wrote it down. It's something along those lines, like stylized Cantina music plays.
Nudge,
Is
nudge,
the-
wink,
Yeah,
wink.
I think so.
Basically, yeah.
So was that Figure and Dan then playing that
That's
guitar?
what I assume.
You know what?
Yeah.
It could
They
have been.
combined
It could have been
forces.
one of the
There's only-
modal notes.
Yeah.
A few of each of them left.
Figure and Dan, of course, being the lead for the original Bith Cantina
Modal
band.
Cantina
from
band,
A New Hope. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? Even if it wasn't him playing his original Cantina song, it's still on Tatooine. So this could be at this point like just a classic Tatooine hit. You know,
Yeah.
that they're just
was good.
reimagining, and it does sound different enough.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's gonna sound different because you got Max Rebo and drummer Droid.
Yeah, it was good to see that Max
Yeah, that's
Rebo
the
survived.
R5 drummer.
Yeah, he survived the sail barge, I guess. I'm looking forward to the soundtrack.
Oh yeah, of course.
We had a droid, one of the droids from Star Tours, dealing at the poker table.
Oh yeah, an RX droid.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, he's
Must have missed
dealing
that.
cards or whatever. Sabak.
Sabak
whatever.
or-
And that Ogus
Kazak.
Cantina feel there with him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What else? There's so much in this scene. This is like my favorite scene.
Yeah,
I
there
think,
was
in the
a
episode.
so there's another. This is where we meet another possibly major character, Garcia.
that's so, I gotta mention, in case you weren't sure, right? In case you weren't beaten over the head with it enough. The Twi'leks are the sexy race in Star Wars. Like, let's just put that to bed. We've got the shirtless male Twi'lek and the hottie and the whatever midriff revealing thing, and then they pull out the Madame Garza, right, the leader of the sanctuary, who you're right will undoubtedly play a bigger role in
Yeah.
events to come. And she's beautiful. I can't think of the name of the actress from Flashdance.
Something Beals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing, and I know this was a little off-putting for my wife, for some reason, when Twi'leks are flesh colored, it's a little weird. I don't know. Something about the head tails when they're the color of human skin.
Yeah.
It gets a little icky.
Fluid. And there were two of them in this episode.
Yeah.
But
They come in all shades, I guess. Twi'leks could be literally any color.
I noticed too that both she and the Major Domo earlier on kept saying the word apologies to Boba Fett over and over again. It was getting to the point where it seemed a little bit condescending. Like it was like fake politeness, I guess.
Well, I mentioned something about that to you guys with that, where I feel like at this point, there's no sense into making this new guy angry. They probably did the same thing to Bib Fortuna. They're just like, you know what? Instead of just having this whole big argument with you, we're sorry. Here's some stuff. You know, what can we do for you? As opposed to like, oh, you know, with Jabba, we got to be real careful because he will feed us to a Rancor.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of under Bib Fortuna. It was a lot of making him feel like he was Jabba while secretly doing everything the way they wanted to do it.
Yeah,
Right.
I can see it. Okay,
And I
get
think
that.
that's where the series is going to head because in the trailers, what line did we hear more than anything else?
I intend to rule with respect.
Yes,
Yeah.
he wants to rule with respect. So I think he's going to learn that those around him are not ruling with respect, and he's going to have to reshape the system or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do like how we found out that most of the trailer was misdirection. Like half the lines
Right.
didn't come from the scenes that they
Exactly. Yep. Right. So then probably my favorite line in the episode is when Madame Garza just says, "Would you like your Gamorreans to be hosed down and fed?" Like they're just like they're pack animals that just need to be hosed down. I love it.
Well, they
I
must
also
have been.
picture that they probably love it. Like the Gamorreans, like, yeah, hose me down. That's my favorite thing.
It's actually
Get the
mud
hose out.
that's coming out of the hose.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not water.
Oh man.
Yeah, but they must have been doing something because when Boba Fett and Fennec get attacked, they're nowhere to be seen until like for a while.
It's true. They are late
Yeah, I kinda-
to the party there.
They were. I just chalked it up to dramatic effect. But
yeah.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know where they could have been. Like, how do you explain that? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there is more to them than just loyalty.
They had to use the
Fennec
little piggy's
made
room.
it seem like it was a bad idea to accept their loyalty, but I mean, when they did get there, they fought with zeal. I mean, they were killing those guys.
Yeah, Boba Fett just seems to have this kind of air of confidence where it's like, so, what are they going to turn on me? I'll just kill them. Like, let them try. He's kind of just like at that, at that level where it's just, you want to try and come up against me? You're welcome to. It's not going to go well.
I think he's trying to use his previous reputation as like his, I'm Boba Fett. I'm the greatest bounty hunter of all time. And I think people are seeing that, but they're like, he's a bounty hunter. He's not really a crime boss.
I didn't get a sense
we could
that
pay him off for that.
I didn't get a sense that people really know that much about him, though.
That's true.
Well, yeah.
I kind of expected like Madame Garza to be like, "Oh, so it's true. You are."
Right. There was
like
none
some
of that.
recognition.
There was none of that. I feel like. Which
Well,
I thought
I
was
also feel like the mayor may have gone around and started telling people everything. And like, he's going to show up, he's going to do this, but remember who really protects you kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's also not clear how long it's been, though, either.
Since what? Oh, since he took
Since
over
he
for Bib Fortuna.
disappeared. I mean, who knows how long he was in a desert for?
Well, yeah, and I think that's what we're going to end up seeing in the flashbacks. Is exactly. I think he lived with the. From what we saw in The Mandalorian Season 2, when he first appeared at the end of that premiere episode, right? He's dressed like a Tuscan. I think he was living with them, and we caught up with him just when he finally decided, all right, I need to track down my armor. Yeah. And he starts hunting the Jawas who stole it from him. It could have been years. I don't know. We're just...
Let's hash it out. He must have gotten out of the Sarlacc more or less right away.
Yeah.
Because we see in... Season 2, Episode 1 of The Mandalorian with Cobb Vanth, we see the backstory of how he was found by Jawas, like more or less right after the Empire was overthrown.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
true,
point.
true.
That's a good
Which
point.
is Return of the Jedi, yeah.
Which would have been right then. So he must have gotten out then. Jawa stole his armor. We're talking, days after Return of the Jedi.
I think that was like that night, it seemed like Boba escaped.
And then,
because there was no oxygen. He couldn't have stayed down there more than,
Yeah.
Well, that was a thought that I had is the stormtrooper that was down there. We've never actually seen any stormtroopers get thrown to the Sarlacc, but maybe that started happening after the Empire was defeated, that people started banding together and throwing sand troopers and stormtroopers.
Oh, you think
into
he
the
was
Sarlacc.
fresher? Well, I remember hearing from one of the early novels that were released after Disney took over, Aftermath, that when the sail barge exploded after they rescued, Han and Luke and everybody from Jabba's sail barge, it actually killed the Sarlacc.
I was wondering
So-
that too.
It was definitely alive when
It was
Boba Fett was in there, 'cause
squirmy around in there. So.
and
I don't know.
he scorched it pretty good. So I don't know. I feel like
but it wasn't clear to me whether actually this is a question I had. It was whether he killed it or it was already dead.
Yeah.
did it make like a squeal when he burned it? I don't remember.
I don't think it did.
it was hard to hear over the sound of the flamethrower. I tried to listen to it a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, back to the modern day, right? So we were talking about the Gamorreans coming to the rescue. This, I don't want to sound like a negative Nelly, but this fight scene with the shield assassin guys, it was not very exciting for me. Like getting the circle of shields, and like they kind of tried to do something interesting where he like launches Fennec into the air, but then she just like kicks the shield and nothing I don't know. It just seemed like a really lame fight scene. I'm gonna just put that out there. Didn't do anything for me, to say the least.
I mean, it showed that Boba Fett is still pretty tough. He was able to take shocks from those
right.
electro maces or whatever, and,
repeatedly,
and keep fighting and eventually win.
It was also, I will say, I would say easily the best Gamorrean scene, because they were like really.
They went ham.
Well, and also he got to blow someone up with a wrist rocket, which was pretty.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not a fan of Boba's, or I should say Tamura Morrison's, like, I'm gonna kill you face that he does when he's he's got the thing back and he's over somebody and he's gonna deal the death blow and he makes this like crazed face.
I do. I like it. I think I'm like, yeah, I know something's gonna go down.
Yeah, right. It's just so over the top. But you know what? That's probably comes from his Maori roots, like that whole, you know, I mean, it's all about the face, the scariness of the face. I don't know.
Just again, imagine that Tuscan scream while he's doing it. Probably learned it from them.
Yeah, that's true.
I have to say, the scene immediately after that with the free running through Mos Espa was awesome.
You like that?
I like that a lot. I wanted Mirror's Edge,
but
Star Wars.
But it wasn't like James Bond Casino Royale style, where it's like quick cuts and tight shots. It's, you know, it was you see
saw, like,
the action, the long shot,
It made me think of like Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. Like,
there you go.
Have a Mos Espa
not the most death-defying things, but done, you know, practically, more or less.
Yeah.
And it goes to show you what Fennec is capable of.
Yeah.
I do love how she
true.
like stared one guy down and then she's like, wait, I
Push
only
the
need
other
one
one.
of you. Kicks the other guy off the side.
Yeah, that was great. That whole sequence, though, and honestly, the whole episode, and this actually makes me think, Bill, something you were saying, is that like this is kind of like the first like kind of mainstream, or how did you word it? Like
this is the beginning of Star Wars going mainstream in terms of like, I guess streaming television these days. Because I think with The Mandalorian, that was like the groundbreaking, like, wow.
That was like an event series, almost like a mini series. Yeah.
Yeah, this can be awesome. Like, this is awesome because it's the first of its kind. Like, it's amazing. Everything about it is awesome. This now what we're going into is like mainstream, kind of like what they've been doing with Marvel. So like,
I was just about to mention
it's becoming more of a mainstream thing, which is, it's not going to necessarily break new ground, right? But it's still really exciting and it's great because I want more of this because it's Star Wars and that's what entertains me. So
yeah. And part of the reason I totally agree with you is, first of all, this episode was only a half hour long. It was on the shorter side.
Right.
And like just the pacing and the action scenes really reminded me of watching Arrow on the CW when I used to watch that. Straight down to like the parkour and the flashback sequences, like that is the way that show worked. And that just like brought me right back. I was like, oh, this is like watching Arrow.
Better.
So yeah, I do. Well, yeah. And obviously it's Star Wars, so I'm more excited about where it's going to go next. But I do kind of agree with Bill. Like maybe this, Disney can't be breaking the bank on every single show they make. No. At a certain point, they need to reach a balance of, quality and cost.
Right.
Well,
so I think we have to see that.
And I don't think
happen.
there was, and I don't want to confuse anyone by making it sound like I was disappointed by this at all. I definitely wasn't. I just.
Oh yeah, no.
I don't think it has the same feel as The Mandalorian did, only because. Like, this is the beginning of what it is going to be now. Like, they can't all be groundbreaking series.
Right. Galaxy-wide repercussions. Take these small
Right.
not slice of life, but more centralized, localized stories that go into character development rather than galactic events.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
I would honestly
force
be...
users and like Ben's been saying all this time.
I would honestly be okay if the series only goes to like this planet, maybe like one other or another one. I'd be okay with that. It doesn't need to be a galaxy hopping
Well, that's because
adventure.
you love Trandoshan so much, and that one Trandoshan in the beginning was like, "May you never leave, Mos Espa." And you're like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Mostly
so many
it's
players. Like there was so much setup in this first episode. It's hard to really judge the series by it because you're right. Like, you got those Trandoshans, they're going to come back. I totally forgot about the Ithorian, who's probably the mayor. We're going to get him. And then in the later flashback, we see that those thieves that are just like ransacking a house, and they spray paint this symbol. Again, another mystery.
I actually tried to look up that logo. Like I was like, this has got to be something from Legends.
Reminded me
or
of
something,
Assassin's Creed,
but I could not find anything about it. So it must be a new thing.
It's new.
So
I think.
Looks like a V. It could be Lady Valerian.
Assuming they know how to tell a good story, whoever they are is going to tie into the ongoing events in the current timeline as well. I'm sure it's going to have some kind of,
Oh, yeah. No.
And I wouldn't be surprised if the Tuscans end up getting involved. Like, Boba must have ties with at least one tribe of Tuscans. He could end up needing their help, or they need his help. And that could be what all this is about, even. Like, maybe he's trying to Dune this thing. He needs the help of the Sand People
Fremen
to take out.
Gonna turn it into a lush jungle planet by the end of the series.
Hey, that's their goal. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Wasn't that in one of the Knights of the Old Republic, where they found out that Tatooine used to be like a lush planet and it turned to desert? I don't remember. Something that's not canon anymore.
Something along those lines. Yeah.
But so going back to the beginning a little bit. I got a sense Boba doesn't really know what he's doing because
definitely.
when the Major Domo asked him for tribute for the mayor, he goes to Fennec. He's like, "What? I'm the crime lord.
Confused.
He's supposed to pay me." He's like, "Hey, wait, I'm the crime lord
Hold
now.
on.
Isn't this how this works?" So he was kind of confused, and he's like, "Wait, I thought that if I just take over this crime syndicate, then everyone has to respect me." But I think maybe he's going to learn that that's not the case.
Yeah, so interesting, because there's a whole back end of the episode, the third act, I guess, is again in flashback. I actually broke down the minutes, and it's like a ratio of 2 to 3 modern times and flashback. So there's actually more time spent with, Boba and the Sand People in the flashback sequences than in the modern day.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's going to continue or if that'll...
I mean, we were saying this in the episode about the trail. About the trailer, and that we felt like it was Book of Boba Fett, so it was going to be kind of a mixture of like what he's doing now and what he did. Maybe by the end of it, it'll lean more towards modern times because it's already wrapped up all the flashback stuff.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking too.
I mean, it's good because it's character development, like Chris said before. We're learning a lot about what happened to him, which everyone's interested in, and then we're seeing where he's going.
Yeah, and it all ends with a fight with some giant
Goro,
6-legged or 4-arm. I don't know what.
I was thinking it was a gun. I think it was a gun. I thought it was a Gundark, but it's not. So
no.
I was a little bit
Gundark-like.
Canon. Gundarks are canon. Have canon appearances because they're in Clone Wars.
I thought it was a little weird that they were introducing a new creature on Tatooine.
That's true. They do have ears. Good point, Chris. You can't pull the ears off of whatever the heck that was.
That's true.
You can pull its head off with a chain, though.
Apparently, yeah. Yeah. So sorry, Bill. What were you saying?
I was just surprised they introduced a new creature on Tatooine after all this time.
Looks like this thing is buried pretty pretty good and only comes out if disturbed, though.
I thought it was
Guess,
going to be
like
like a baby crate dragon at first.
That's what
Right.
I thought
Yeah,
it was
right.
too,
Me too.
because they're supposed to have all those arms and stuff like that. When I saw the multiple arms, I was like, oh man, we're gonna get a baby crate dragon, but it ended up being Sang Shun's champion from Mortal Kombat.
I was actually thinking it looked like maybe not Goro, but a Gorn with two extra arms.
Yeah. Could be
You
an
just see the
homage
little,
there.
whatever the little
yeah.
singlet is that the Gorn wears, the little
And
tank
then,
top.
I'm pretty sure
I don't-
Boba Fett made a bazooka with bamboo and diamonds and killed him, right? That's how it happened.
I don't actually
Right,
know
yeah.
what you're talking about right now. So.
Star Trek, the original series.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a creature from the Captain Kirk has to fight barehanded. The Gorn.
And shirtless? Wasn't he shirtless too, I'm sure?
He's usually shirtless if they know what they're doing. So yeah, but of course Boba ends up defeating the thing, and then the kid Tuscan seems to steal all the credit.
I don't think he's stealing the credit.
No,
I
'cause
think he is, but the
Everybody
chieftain or
knows.
whatever knows.
Oh,
He's like, all right,
maybe,
here you go.
Maybe.
It's like, thanks for the help,
Maybe.
because this
I
kid
don't-
was hopeless.
But the kid was like super excited when he saw Boba Fett kill it though. He got all like he's like jumping up and down like, yeah, he did it. Like he's awesome.
And,
because
and
that
he
counts.
went
I
back
think
and-
yeah.
And he went back and he was retelling the story. You think any of those Tuscans are going to think he choked out that
But
thing?
Maybe the kid's rite of passage was to get Boba Fett to find out if one of those prisoners was awesome or not. And so
Yeah.
he's like, he
like,
found out
yeah,
Boba
we don't
Fett's
know.
awesome. He wins. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what, because there's so much they still have to unpack from this
Yeah,
one episode.
right.
Like even the second episode, they could just focus on one little bit of it, and we're still gonna
Yeah.
have so many questions left unanswered, which is good. I mean, it's got my interest.
Well, and don't forget that when The Mandalorian aired, they actually did 2 episodes in the first week. So I
Did
feel
they?
like we got a lot more
I think so, yeah.
like right away. Now we're waiting a
Yeah.
little bit longer for the next chapter.
Well, I mean,
We're spoiled.
God willing, I'll get this thing out on a Tuesday because this is already Monday. Thanks a lot, Christmas. But
You're welcome.
it's Father Christmas. But if this drops tomorrow, which is Tuesday, then the next episode is the day after that.
Yeah,
So
right.
we don't have to wait long.
How many episodes is
least.
it? 6 or 8?
I don't know. Have they announced
I don't
it?
think they. I think they did actually. I think it's 6. Let me look.
I'm trying to.
Well, one last topic we should mention is how about that music?
It was
It was
fantastic.
great. It was so. I had to watch it a couple times because I did notice there was a lot of like low bass or like drums or something for a lot of it. But then like when things were actually happening, it got pretty epic. And I feel like we have a new theme for Boba Fett, or at least
Well, there's literally on, you can find on Amazon Music a new Book of Boba Fett theme. But I found that the music from that only plays during the flashback sequences.
Okay.
And in the modern time, you still hear that bum ba bum 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 ba bum
Okay.
bum ba
Yeah,
bum bum.
yeah.
Like the one from The Mandalorian is like the new. So I just want to hear that Ludwig himself played that guitar for the Cantina theme because he is a guitarist. I want to know whether or not he actually played it. I'll have to tweet him. You tweet him, Bill. I'm gonna find out.
I'm sure we'll get a response.
Yes, yeah.
There's going to be 7 episodes.
Yeah, otherwise, I mean, I think we've already kind of mentioned our overall thoughts. I don't think any of us are willing to admit we disliked it.
I liked it
I
a
mean-
lot.
I mean, I don't think any of us disliked it at all, but
I am very excited about the next episode. I liked it. I like this episode a lot better than a few of the Mandalorian episodes that I was just like, meh.
yeah, well, I mean, there's always the filler and the...
Yeah.
I honestly, I'm a little... When I think about it, I'm a little surprised that this episode was so short to start off, because,
Yeah.
like I said, it doesn't really... give you a good idea of where things are headed still. There's just a lot of questions to be answered, which I guess is, it's got
But
me
they're not gonna
interested.
answer- yeah,
Hopefully,
They're not going to answer it all
works.
in one episode. I feel like by the end of the season, we still won't have all the answers because they got to save something for a second season if they do it, or if he's
Right.
going to show up in Mandalorian 3.
Yeah.
I feel like they have a reason for everything, though.
I mean, this could even end up bridging into whatever the next series. Like we got Kenobi coming this year, Andor's coming this year.
Yeah, this is good.
Bad Batch season 2.
It's actually going to be a pretty good Star Wars year.
Thankfully, last year all we got was Bad Batch, right? That was it.
Yes. I wonder how much of this series is going to be based off of that standalone Boba Fett film.
Oh,
Like, is this some of the stuff they had planned for the standalone Boba Fett film that they're now turning into a series? Or is it they just scrapped that idea completely and now they're doing it, fresh?
That's, what? There's so much from this Disney era of Star Wars that we'll never know. And I
Yeah.
think that's one of those things.
Yeah. Better.
That would
to
have been
not
better.
know, 'cause then people are always
Yeah.
going to say, would have been better as a movie.
Boring conversation anyway.
All right. Seems like a good place as any to wrap it up.
You mean longer than the actual episode
A
itself?
lot to unpack. What do you want? So yeah, I figure for the next few weeks we'll just be doing this, right?
Yeah, probably.
Unless the show really turns to crap, then
Which we'll still do it
And that's-
anyway, because warts and all. So
right.
I don't want to hear it. Also, that won't
Yeah.
happen. It's just not. It's not possible.
No, it'll be good. It's gonna be great.
I mean, I guess if they get more Boston Dynamics robots, they'll jump the shark or something. But I didn't have a problem with that. I thought it was cool.
But it doesn't matter. There's so many different things in Star Wars.
Yeah,
they can put anything in
exactly.
it and be like, yeah,
Right.
Yes.
That's the,
It
that's
works.
the thing.
See you next week for Chapter 2.
Any feedback? Gmail us.
Likes and comments on Warts and All at Instagram, also Twitter.
If you like the show, go ahead and click subscribe. That'd be good. Leave us a good review
Yeah.
too, and that'd be good. We'd appreciate that.
More of this to come.
Thanks for listening,
I,
Jacob.
I'm enthralled. I can't wait.
I have a boring voice. What do you want?
Yeah.